Hello friends, today I am sharing part 2 of my December daily album. So I left off on part 1 on day 16. If you haven't seen the first half of my album, you can go watch part 1. But I finished up the second half, so I wanted to show you my finished product. So starting on day 17, I used, it's actually a 9 by 12 page protector. I trimmed off the top row. It was the style that had 9 3x4 pockets. I think it's really fun to have this flip up here that kind of exposes some hidden journaling. So I did a 6x8 photo of me wrapping presents with Sullivan, because he always joins me for wrapping, and talked a little bit about a tradition that I have with Mark for our gifts, and then used a 17 here, some puffy stickers, and a picture of the tags that I included. Day 18 is on the back. This is kind of a full spread talking about how I love to stay home. In fact, for December, that's pretty much all I'm doing is staying home, and I prefer to be a homebody over somebody who goes out. And so this is a picture of me on my couch, which is my favorite spot in the house, and it shows Clementine and some of my Christmas decor. So I talked about kind of what we're doing at home right now, and then I paired it with a cut file that says let's stay home, and then put my 18 in the middle there. And then I did back it with some patterned paper. Here's day 19, where I used the large cork numbers. These came in the Good Old Days kit, and I saved those. Used a silk screen to do the polka dots over the front, added some chipboard, some die cuts, a little bit of ribbon, and then those banners that came in the main kit. And I put that on a transparency. I included a Starbucks bag. When I went in and I ordered a pastry, I actually asked for a separate bag, no shame, because I love the design on the back. So what I did here is I stamped pay it forward. This was something that was on my Christmas bucket list that I wanted to do. I just paper clipped a few of the die cuts on here and a piece of ribbon. And then on the back, I included a picture of my drink, but also kind of paying it forward and the story behind that, and talking about the best way to receive joy is to give the joy. And so I used a few of the pieces from the Joy Story kit from last year and a piece of chipboard. This is day 19. This talks about the Christmas tree that we put up at Voices of Hope. So for those of you that don't know, I work at a rape crisis center. We're a pretty liberal feminist agency, and so we actually created a condom tree. Those are just things that we actually give out to clients to make sure that everyone has access to safe contraception. And then still day 19, I did another story about the families that got adopted through our agency. So we always make sure that families that are fleeing violence, that might not be able to afford gifts. We've even had individuals, abusers, destroy gifts. So we want to make sure that every family that walks through our doors has something to open, and the kids don't go without. And so we do this huge donation drive. It's my favorite time of the year. It restores my faith in humanity. And so I definitely wanted to do a story about our training room just being filled floor to ceiling with gifts. Day 20 is a holiday party. Again, something else that was on my bucket list. So hung out with coworkers. So I put a picture here. This was a 6x8 paper that I trimmed down to a circle, did a circle photo in the middle, and then did journaling on the back. So I cut up one of this might have been like a 4x6 card, cut that up, put that in between the lines. Here's where I ended up putting my bucket list, mainly because I had a story that I wanted to tell here, and it fit really nicely, so this was just a good place to kind of house that bucket list. I didn't get to everything. It's fine. Again, this wasn't the December I was planning on having, but this was something that Brandy Kincaid shared on her Instagram, and she shared this on December 21st, which was actually a really hard day for me, and I included some hidden journaling here. And this quote just really spoke to me. Brandy is incredibly talented. I thought this was a nice way to kind of add in, again, kind of a hard story, and that's kind of what my album consists of this year. This is day 22, so I set this up in advance as a foundation page. I believe this was a lesson that Allie did a few years back, so I put the 22 here. And then again, I stamped these lines on here so I could do a little bit of journaling. This was a night we went to Bombshell, so I included the movie tickets here. And then I did include a picture on the back of Mark and I just hanging out this day because it was kind of a lazy day and we kind of spent a lot of time on the couch on our phones with the cats. So I just put that behind there in a piece of chipboard. And this actually came from the December Stories by the Month kit. Okay, so here's where I'm getting into kind of some different things. And I had this was something that I did in advance also. This was something I was considering submitting for the Numbers product play class, but I ended up not using it, but I still really liked it and I wanted to include it, but I needed to back it behind something. So I used some craft paper and I had like a bajillion of these tags from an older, I think it's the Merry Days from Crate Paper. And so I decided to do a design collage of these tags and then just add on a few embellishments and ribbon. And I think that was a nice way to kind of use some product, but also make use of that space where I knew I was gonna put this list, this 1 through 5 on the back. So this is using the 6x8 large number stamp set that I've talked on and on about. I really love it. I can't wait to use this for future products. I embossed 1 through 5 on here, and then I used gold thread to create this space where I could do journaling. So one of my favorite things about the holiday season, as I'm sure it is for you, is gift giving and finding the perfect gift for people on my list. And so I decided to create a list of the top 5 gifts that I was most excited to give. So using one of the 6x8 smaller 2x2 pockets, I trimmed off that last edge here because I just wanted to do 1 through 5, and then I put in a few embellishments. I took pictures of the gifts that I was most excited to give and then journaled a little bit about that. And so I have a couple of gifts in here for my in-laws, for Mark, for my mom, and then stamped a little season of giving, which came from the Give Story Kit, and put a tab on there. And then on the back, I saved some of my wrapping paper that I used and just slipped that in to the slots there. And then this was from the Joy Story Kit. So that was day 23. Then we get into Christmas Eve. This was something that I set up in advance. This was something that Allie had made, I think, for wreaths. So I'm a sucker for stars. I love how this turned out. I ended up using the digital file for those, again, these same numbers, shrunk it down and used a 24 with the glitter. And then this, of course, flips up like we saw in her video. So included some extra pictures, some journaling here. This was a 4x6 card. I kind of cut this out. I saw this somewhere on Instagram and I can't remember who I got that from, but I thought that turned out great. And then a picture here of like the aftermath of opening gifts, which is always crazy. And again, this was kind of another like 6x8 situation where I wanted to include these numbers, but I wasn't quite sure how to do it. So I actually adhered this page protector to the back of this paper. And I think sometimes we forget that we can do that. And I just added some washi star tape here, which actually matches the wreaths really well. And that was like a super easy way to just not have to put in extra stuff that I wasn't planning on and just go right into day 25. So these were the large wood veneer numbers. Again, I embossed these with red powder and did the stars here and then put in the magic is something we make. This was a lesson I was really excited to do that Lisa did in the wreath product play classroom, where she printed the large file here of the wreath and then used vellum to do journaling. So I did that, added a few stars, a piece of chipboard. This is talking about our family story. This actually came from the family story kit, and so I added that at the top here. I didn't really do anything on the back except for add this everyone together, which I'm fine with. I think you probably could have cut out a back to this wreath, but I didn't do it. I was kind of ready. I mean, this is the last day, so I'm like, I'm ready to finish this album, put it on my shelf. So here's a large family photo. Put some washi tape at the top and bottom, the heart of Christmas. I used the hexagon template to put in some pictures. I added in the hexagons that came in the main kit because I still had a few of those left over. Puffy stickers, chipboard pieces, other stickers, hearts. I'm just kind of throwing it all in at this point. And then just a few photos and journaling about Christmas. Used a transparency with one of the puffy stickers. And then last but not least, I talked about the gift ceremony that I did with Mark and got some pictures of the cats. And then I wasn't sure if I was going to include this because my album was getting pretty full, but I decided that I did want this. So this is a pocket that I got from, I don't know, maybe Felicity Jane, maybe a few years back, but I wanted to include some of the Christmas cards that I got, and just a few tags, few pictures and things, and then I just included this little die cut and put some washi tape here. And I did cover the front of this. It's all white, so I had some leftover pattern paper, so I did the all is calm, all is bright. But these are just like a few things that I got over the holiday season that it's just fun to include. So yeah, so again, like, I loved making this album. This was my first year doing December Daily. I was super worried I wouldn't have enough stories. Actually, I had debated getting the 3x8 album because I'm like, there's no way I'll fill a 6x8 album. Well, take a look at that. Of course I did, and this will definitely not be the last time that I do this project. I'm really looking forward to doing this again, and I have to say I was super inspired by all of your posts on Instagram and how special this community is. So thanks so much for doing this alongside with me, and I'll see you next year.